Depth is not found by doing extraordinary things, it is found by not escaping ordinary discomfort. Depth is not found by doing extraordinary things. The mind believes depth comes from extreme effort, long hours, heroic discipline, intensity, suffering with purpose, dramatic transformation. This belief is selective because it keeps the self image alive. I am someone who is doing something important, but notice something subtle. Extraordinary effort is often just escape wearing a uniform. It keeps the mind busy, it keeps you stimulated, it keeps you from sitting with what is plain and unresolved. Depth does not live in drama, it lives in contact with reality as it is. Reality is ordinary. It is found by not escaping ordinary discomfort. This is the key. Ordinary discomfort is boredom, restlessness, ambiguity, lack of motivation, not knowing if it will pay off, sitting without feedback, working without praise, silence without relief. These states feel wrong only because the mind has been trained to avoid them. So it escapes through stimulation, through productivity, through planning, through consumption, through self improvement. But each escape keeps you 1 inch above reality. Depth exists inside reality, not above it. Why discomfort is the doorway? Discomfort appears when the mind no longer gets its usual rewards. Identity is not being reinforced. Attention is not being entertained. This is withdrawal. And just like any withdrawal, the body and the mind protest. Most people escape here, so they never reach depth. Not because depth is rare, but because escape is easy. What happens if you don't escape? If you stay, boredom exhausts itself, restlessness loses momentum, thoughts slow down, attention settles, then something quiet emerges. Presence, clarity, precision, interest without excitement. This is depth. Not emotional, not dramatic, just solid. Why this feels boring but is actually alive? The mind equates aliveness with stimulation. Depth is aliveness without stimulation. It feels dull at first because the dopamine spikes are gone, the internal narrator is silent, there is no emotional reward. But this dullness is actually stability. From here, learning becomes effortless, insight appears naturally, work stops feeling heavy, energy stops leaking. How this applies to your life? Just see, when you sit with a job instead of switching tabs, stay with the paragraph instead of checking X, remain with uncertainty instead of seeking reassurance. You are not being disciplined, you are stopping escape. And each time you don't escape, you step closer to depth. The paradox. The things that feel ordinary, sitting, reading, applying, listening, waiting, are the very things that build extraordinary clarity. And the things that feel extraordinary, constant stimulation, endless learning, productivity theater, motivational highs, often keep you shallow. Depth is not reached by going further, it is reached by staying with what is simple, staying with what is quiet, staying with what offers no reward. That is where reality opens, and that is where depth lives. Ordinary discomfort is not extraordinary pain. It's not trauma, it's not life or death struggle. It's not the kind of suffering that gets movies made about it. It's subtle, everyday friction that your mind instinctively wants to escape from. Like sitting still when your mind wants to scroll, waiting without checking your phone, doing a task that feels boring, repetitive, or slow, listening fully without interrupting, judging, or reacting, reading something that challenges you but doesn't give you instant payoff, facing silence, monotony, or ambiguity. It is a small and remarkable forms of resistance inside your own mind. Why it feels like discomfort? Your mind is trained to seek stimulation, novelty, emotional highs, immediate validation, reassurance. When these are missing, the mind panics. Boredom feels unbearable. Restlessness arises. Anxiety whispers, "This is wrong, you're wasting time." That's why ordinary discomfort feels so intense even though it is mild. Why ordinary discomfort is essential for depth. Depth cannot exist without presence, and presence cannot exist without tolerance for mild friction. If you always flee boredom, you never meet the raw reality of your craft. If you always flee restlessness, you never encounter clarity. If you always flee small frustration, you never train your attention. Depth arises precisely inside the friction you are trying to avoid. How it manifests in practice. Think about your current life. Job, boredom, repetitive, no instant reward, ordinary discomfort. Sitting quietly, mind screams for stimulation, ordinary discomfort. Reading a difficult essay, confusion, fatigue, ordinary discomfort. Waiting or doing nothing, mind panics, ordinary discomfort. Each of these is a gatekeeper. Every time you stay, you build tolerance for reality, clarity, and presence. Every time you escape, you reinforce shallow habits. The mind exaggerates this discomfort. I can't do this, it's boring, I need to switch. But the moment you sit with it fully, something changes. The urge to escape weakens, attention stabilizes, insights emerge naturally, work becomes effortless, depth starts to show up. So, ordinary discomfort is not something to fix or remove, it is the doorway to depth. The mind exaggerates ordinary discomfort. When you feel boredom, restlessness, or mild frustration, the mind reacts as if it's life or death. I can't do this. This is pointless. I need to switch or I'll lose time. Something is wrong with me. This is not reality. It's the mind manufacturing drama to pull you away from ordinary friction. Your nervous system interprets lack of stimulation as danger, so it floods you with panic signals. This exaggeration is automatic, habitual, and invisible. Most people think it's just reality being boring, but it's really psychological noise. What happens when you stop escaping? The moment you resist the urge to flee, when you just sit with it fully, the mind has to adjust. Here's what changes. The urge to escape weakens. Initially, it screams, but if you don't respond, it gradually loses energy. The mind realizes, oh, I can survey this. Attention stabilizes. Your focus stops jumping from tab to tab, thought to thought. You start noticing subtle details in the work that were invisible before. Insights emerge naturally. Without distraction, patterns, relationships, and deeper truths begin to appear effortlessly. What previously seemed dull or repetitive now contains hidden information. Work becomes effortless. You stop pushing, forcing, or motivating yourself. Doing the task no longer drains energy because your energy was being wasted on resisting it. Depth starts to show up. The craft, the problem, or the subject itself begins to reveal its internal logic and richness. You are no longer learning about it, you are inside it. Ordinary discomfort is not a problem, it is the doorway. Discomfort is not something to fix, avoid, or escape. It is essential friction, like sandpaper smoothing the mind. Staying with mild frustration trains you to tolerate reality. Depth is the natural consequence of not running away repeatedly. Think of it like a muscle. If you never lift anything heavy, your muscles stay weak. If you never endure ordinary discomfort, your attention, presence, and insight remain shallow. Why this feels counterintuitive? Our culture glorifies extraordinary effort, dramatic change, and motivation highs. But depth grows in quiet, consistent, non dramatic resistance to ordinary friction. What feels like nothing happening is actually the process of your mind settling into reality. Every time you notice boredom, restlessness, or frustration, recognize it as ordinary discomfort, not a problem. Do not escape, don't switch tabs, scroll, or distract yourself. Stay with it fully. Observe the subtle changes, attention stabilizing, insights forming, work becoming easier. Know that this is exactly where depth lives. The mind shouts, I need to escape. Depth whispers, sit, stay, observe. Ordinary discomfort is the door. Sitting through it is the key. The soul of a craft is not hidden. Your psychological noise is what hides it. Every craft already contains its depth. Sales, running, writing, building, lifting, even sweeping a floor. The depth is built into the structure of reality itself. What blocks it is wanting recognition, wanting certainty, wanting to be someone through the craft, wanting outcomes, wanting to feel meaningful. This wanting is energy leakage. A craft has energy, but it's not mystical, it's structural. Reality rewards precision, truth, clarity, direct contact. When you align with that structure, energy flows. When ego enters, energy leaks. You don't touch the depth by trying to be deep. You touch it when you stop needing meaning, you stop needing results, you stop needing validation, you stop asking, where is this going? Then the craft reveals itself. Not loudly, not romantically, but unmistakably. Your mind is not uninterested, it is addicted to movement. LinkedIn, YouTube, X, tab switching, micro relief, repeat. This has nothing to do with intelligence, discipline, or motivation. It is dopamine fragmentation. Your nervous system has been trained to expect novelty every few seconds, emotional spikes, fast resolution, constant reassurance. So, when something is quiet, slow, ambiguous, unrewarding, the mind panics. Escape becomes automatic. Depth requires sustained contact, patience with boredom, tolerance of silence, staying when nothing happens. But your mind has been conditioned to believe if nothing is happening, something is wrong. So it runs. Not because the work is wrong, not because the job doesn't matter, but because stillness feels threatening. So, depth is not hidden in intensity, discipline, or heroic effort. It is hidden in what you keep avoiding. Ordinary discomfort, boredom, restlessness, silence, uncertainty is not a flaw in the process, it is in the process. The mind exaggerates this discomfort and calls it a problem because escape has become its habit. But the moment you stop running, something quiet happens. Attention settles, energy stops leaking, reality reveals itself. Depth does not arrive with noise or drama. It appears when you stay with what is simple, slow, and unrewarding without asking for relief. You don't reach depth by doing more, you reach it by staying. That is the work.